can I address some criticisms of us? Can I do it? Would that be all right?
Why not? Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, there's a big one that I just feel like I got to clear the air on. We were talking about the gaming historian, Norm. And we were talking about like, wow, that's a lot of money to walk away from because he quit YouTube. He stopped his Patreon, and we did some quick napkin math. And we assume that he's been pulling in something like $200,000 a year from his YouTube career. And you know, pushing the stop button on that is a pretty big deal. It's a lot of money. And I was like, he must have a nest egg. He must have some savings. He must have a backup plan, something, because $200,000 a year is not fuck you money. And I got the sea of like, you're out of your mind. Those arcades must be really expensive. You must be living the rich man's life. You don't know what a gallon of milk costs anymore, or something along these lines. And I, you know, read on to be like, wait, what's confusing about this? And they would say stuff like, what, are you crazy? $200,000 a year to make 2 videos? That's insane. I was like, yeah, I agree. I completely agree. It's a great salary for like what appears to be at least a fun job, if not like easier than the average job. Yeah. I completely agree. My point is that's a lot of money to walk away from. What I mean by it's not fuck you money is, first of all, let's define what fuck you money is. A lot of people were like, it's definitely fuck you money. Well, to me, fuck you money is I never have to worry about money ever again, and I'll never be accountable to anybody ever again as a result. Fuck you is the idea.
Yes. Just having like a couple, even a couple 100,000 squirreled away doesn't mean anything, because one, like, inflation keeps going unless you invested the money wisely, which, you know, some people might have, but we can't assume he did. Yeah, you can't just, it doesn't work like that. The world doesn't work. You can't retire off of a few 100,000 squirreled away.
Yeah, and that's what I was trying to say was he can't retire on this. And so a lot of people are like, well, depending on the area of the country you live, cost of living, you live in Massachusetts, that's a lot more expensive. And it is true. I was like, I wonder what's the median income in the greater Boston area. It's $105,000 a year, household income, median household income. It's definitely an expensive place to live. And, you know, and salaries are proportioned to the expense, right? Otherwise people won't live here. Mm-hmm. But even if you put aside the cost of living, what I'm saying is, let's say that Norm had been making $200,000 since the beginning, which he hasn't. I don't know when he started making $200K, but I don't know. My guess would be 7 years ago, maybe 6 years ago. I don't know, really.
Yeah, I don't know.
But let's say it's been 10 years of $200,000, and let's say he's been living off of $50,000, and let's say that his take home is $140, which is probably less than that because he's a freelancer. He'll get taxed out the ass.
Yeah,
because there's no withholdings, so the whole thing's taxed all in one lump sum, probably, unless he plays it differently. And then let's say that he bought a $300,000 house, just for simple math's sake, and let's say he bought it outright. It's 10 years, you're living off of $50,000. That means that you saved $600,000. Now you can invest that, you can put that in a CD. Although if you're going to put it in a CD and try to accrue anything from it, like a big percentage of it has to go unspent, but he can do that. That's a lot of money. But let's say he's 35 and he's got $600,000 and he stops getting income and he plans to live till he's 80. That's $13,000 a year that he's got to live off of that. So yes, with investments, he can increase that, but he's going to spend it down. So that'll diminish over time. Plus you just mentioned inflation. Inflation will affect how much $600,000 is valued over time. So I think a lot of people are missing like money, like an annual salary is so often an indication of like the amount of money you're able to earn over time. It matters the most if you have many years in a row of $200,000. You know, one really good year is great, but like, you gotta be able to keep it up because you have a whole life to plan. It's an overtime thing. And I saw just a lot of comments that were like, dude, I make 40,000, I make 50,000, whatever, 200,000 would be life-changing for me. I'm like, well, yeah, for 1 year, right? You could solve a bunch of problems, but again, like,
but then the philosopher said, "Mo money, mo problems." So,
yeah, it was a little confusing to me that there was that much. There were plenty of people that were like, I think some people here aren't getting it, aren't following. But quite strange.
Yeah,
maybe
I mean,
maybe
it
just
makes
money is that sensitive of a topic. You can't like express an opinion about it at all without people getting kind of uptight because it's just stressful for people. Maybe.
Yeah, it is. And and people can live on little in some parts of. I was seeing some people being like, "Oh, a lot of people around here make 40,000. It's totally fine." It's like, yeah, I know, but yeah, we're both in Massachusetts, so it's a Massachusetts.
Like, could you? The question is, what's fuck you money? Like,
Yes.
people live on 40,000 here, and it's fine. It's like, okay, but obviously that's not fuck you money, right? So how many years would you need to save your 40,000 before it becomes fuck you money? It's like you need a lot of money you need a lot of money before you can actually say like I'm accountable to nobody. I don't care. All my expenses are taken care of. You know, I found it entertaining. And then there, on that same video, there was because we were talking about his Oregon Trail documentary and stuff, and somebody said, "Wow, this is Fusion Space 175." I read this because I don't know that I've ever read an angrier comment about such minor things that nobody else cared about. Wow, I have never seen people in my life who belong on YouTube less. There's got to be people who belong on YouTube less. Come on, there's some. You ever watch one of those like Indian guys who tries to give you like some like how to do something in Windows and you can't hear him and it's bad advice and everybody downvotes it?
How to repair your Microsoft Office products, especially Microsoft Word, because most of the time people are using Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel.
Yeah, I mean, the people who have bad audio are automatically worse than us. So
that's right. Just a shocking lack of information and knowledge about everything you're discussing. From not knowing the Oregon Trail was a text game to not knowing just how many tiny channels out there give away movies worth of effort videos for free as a general practice, some of them quite well produced and edited. He's referring to, we said, we were like, oh yeah, we watched Norm's documentary and I didn't know it originally started as a text game. That's number one. And number two, we said, hey, like he puts a lot of effort into these. He could probably put it behind a paywall. I wonder why he doesn't put it behind a paywall. Not confused at all. Fusion Space 175. That many people is very popular to put up big, long, high effort videos on YouTube regularly. Not confused about that. Was making a point about like, hey, Norm might have another revenue stream that he could do. But as far as like being that pissed, like you didn't fucking know that Oregon Trail was a text game.
So Frankie, when you're browsing, let's say you're browsing Netflix and you see a documentary, and you're like, oh, that's on a subject I vaguely know and it's kind of interesting to me. Do you turn that on to maybe learn something?
Impossible.
Or do you watch it and then people should be mad at you that you learned anything about any topic?
That's the scriptural for he who does not have wisdom, let him ask. You know, you're only supposed to be stupid once, and then you can like be like, oh, then I learned something new, and
I turned on the Norm documentary about the Oregon Trail because I played it on an Apple II in my school because we had ancient Apple IIs. Like all of us. That's the only time I ever thought about it until that documentary came along. Or maybe I thought about it when I saw a shirt that said you died of dysentery or something. And then I saw this documentary and I'm like, oh, it started off as a text adventure. That's pretty neat. Cool. That's normal. That's a normal thing that's a human experience.
Yeah, but he's pissed. And to him, I think a qualifying characteristic of being on YouTube is that you have like I guess we've run into this before, right? Like there's a podcast, I'm talking to my friend, we're like noodling around, we're saying, oh, I saw this thing. Did you see this thing? Oh, I didn't know that. It's a conversation. It's not a documentary that you're watching. Have you ever had a conversation, Fusion Space 175 before ever?
This is like a peek and two friends just talking off the cuff, a lot of times out of our ass, and that's fun. So,
but like, I guess I can understand. Like, occasionally, maybe you run into like, oh, I'm really surprised those guys didn't know that, or he's a film guy, he didn't know that. You know, you're gonna run into this sort of thing. It's gonna happen. Totally normal to have that reaction, but to be this is like tweaking. This is like getting spazzy. about the fact that somebody didn't know something you knew. This makes you weird. This makes you fucked up. This makes you a freak. Maybe you guys ought to go behind a paywall. Aw, he thinks we're valuable. Valuable enough to pay. In case you don't know.
We do have sort of a paywall. Please subscribe on Patreon. You can get the full podcast.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon.
You can hear us bitch about fans all the time. Well, he's not a fan. It looks like he's a fair weather. I don't think this guy watches us. In case you don't, though, I'll just leave myself because people with mental gaps like this are not worth my time to listen to. Jesus. Settle down, Beavis.
I'm sorry. We're not as perfect as you, my friend. But, wow.
Wow. It's Gordon Ramsay. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Wow. Wow.
I remember there was like a Kitchen Nightmares. I wish I'll never find the clip ever again. It was like one of those Kitchen Nightmares where he finally had inspired the kitchen staff to stand up to the management, like the oppressive management. And they were all like, you make us stay late and we don't have a clean kitchen and whatever. And Gordon was just witnessing it. And he had his palm over his mouth like this, like with his elbow crooked. And he just kind of lifted his palm from his mouth just for a moment to go, wow.
Just sneak it out.
Sometimes I'll see a comment and I'll go, wow.
Wow.
And there was just on YouTube news on that same topic. There was something I ran into the other day. YouTube, fascinating platform, always improving. I think I haven't always been happy with YouTube, but it's one crazy platform, isn't it? I mean, what an incredible like miracle of media that this thing is, that you can somewhat fashion together an entertainment platform out of like terrible freakish randos uploading videos by the billions every second.
Wonderful.
But so they collect survey data every once in a while. They'll especially do this with like YouTube partners, people who earn from YouTube. You'll be uploading something and they'll be like, hey, by the way, hi, it's me, AI. Did you see a progress bar while it was uploading, or did you not see a progress bar? They'll ask stuff like that, qualitative little surveys. And this one just popped up. I've never seen anything like it before, and I found the options fascinating. I just wanted to take a moment and chat about them. Which of the following have you experienced on your YouTube homepage today? Too many racy videos.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, racy. Too many mixes and playlists. Too many videos from network television.
Oh, absolutely. Well, not recently, but in the past.
Yeah, but that tells you that they got a lot of feedback. They're like, get this fucking Jimmy Fallon shit out of my face.
Yeah, because it was like, you could tell they were like pushing it. Yeah.
It felt very like YouTube's going to become network television, and I think maybe it sounds like they took the feedback. And then finally, the last two are other problem or none not sure, but this final one was too few videos from new topics and channels. So they're trying to get away from this like we're always feeding. You watched one angry video game nerd video, and now all you get is angry video game nerd videos. Show us some imposters.
Show us a little of a spin on that. Yeah.
But I fascinating. Like that to me, that's actually like a really, I don't know, like it's not always the case. You're given a survey and you know what tree they're barking up, but like every one of these has like, oh, okay, I know what you're trying to do with your platform. And it's kind of encouraging actually that they're like, yeah, we don't want to inundate you with like playlist music stuff. And probably that happens because if you have like a whole soundtrack or something, right, then that's a lot of videos, and I don't know, maybe the SEO gets tilted in their favor accidentally.
I haven't really had a problem with racy videos lately anyway. Maybe in the past they were
showing you stuff that's like pornographic or what, like twerking.
I don't think so. I don't know, but I'm aggressively looking at the most nerdy stuff, so I don't know.
Yeah, I will say, like, if you watch like a couple of WWE clips, WWE is going to stick with you for a few years. There have been times, like long periods, where I'm getting no wrestling content at all, and I'll be like, oh yeah, I want to watch this one match. That's it. I'm a wrestling fan all over again because of the YouTube algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at just my like homepage, and I'm seeing like retro game core. I'm seeing I don't know, every Zelda game ranked based on story. I'm just a fucking nerd. What are you gonna do?
Video games.
Oh, and here's Baby Back Maniac. So there's some ribs. Okay.
That sounds like EJ's homepage. Honestly.
So solid YouTube. That's why YouTube wins, man. That's why YouTube wins.
They ID'd you accurately.
Subscribe to Red Cow Entertainment on Patreon for full episodes every other week.